Good morning, everybody. We'll get started with today's Technical Review Committee meeting for May 20th, 2026. Stephen is at one of our community roundtables up in Defuniak, so I'm going to do my best to fill in today. Excuse me. Do we have any announcements? Okay. Okay. So the first project on the agenda is the Town of Santa Rosa Alley abandonment. We have a request to continue this to the June 3rd meeting. Do we have a motion?
Motion to continue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that is continued to June the 3rd. Next item on the agenda is Camp Defuniak. This project was reviewed by Jesus Navarro. Jesus, will ask you to please come forward and present this project. Good morning.
All right, is this working? There we go. Okay. Request to approve by development order project number MIN 26000038 is being reviewed by myself. This is a minor development order application submitted by Jenkins Engineering on behalf of Gary W. Bearden Revocable Trust, requesting to develop 12 RV park spaces with associated infrastructure on 22.84 plus or minus acres with a future land use and a zoning category of general ag. The property is located in District 2 at 75 Tiger Laird Road and is identified by the parcel ID number 01-2N-19-18000-018-0020. This parcel ID, there was a typo on here. There were various parcel IDs noted on the blurb, which is why I just, for the record, spelled out the correct one. May I enter the staff report into the record?
Yes, absolutely, so entered.
Okay, so several things on this one. There are a lot of comments, both from planning, engineering, and as you'll see in the staff report from the Florida Department of Health, that require, in my opinion, a lot of revisions to the drawings that were submitted. One other thing, well, actually several things. If you look on page 5 of the staff report, there's also a typo for the proposed impervious surface area. The proposed is not 44%, it's 4.9%. And I did receive comments from engineering this morning. However, I have not been able to review these.
Did you bring a copy for the committee?
I have just one copy. I can certainly make more copies.
Do you know what those changes are in relation to what's in the staff report?
I have not.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to review it.
Okay. Do you want to enter those into the record, or do you want to wait for the updated staff report and have that and incorporate those changes into the staff report?
I think, I would like to enter it into the record.
Okay.
However, how do I?
So you've asked to enter it into the record, so
Yes.
entered, so you'll need to give a copy to our clerk,
Okay.
please. Okay. So, I have questions for the applicant. Does anyone have anything else for Jesus before we ask our applicant to please come forward? Good morning, Mr. Eubanks. No more questions, Jesus. We'll ask Mr. Jamie Eubanks to please come forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And just so we're clear, so the blurb in the staff report has errors as far as the staff, the parcel number. Jesus identified the parcel number. That's on page 2 of the staff report. Page 3, there's a reference to the scenic corridor. This is not in the scenic corridor, so there will not be a scenic corridor review. I agree. I read the comments from the health department. There are some changes that will have to happen as a result of those. Jamie will get you the revised engineering comments. I believe that part of it relates to the basically safety because of the access points.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help me understand how campers are going to pull into spaces 1 and 2?
Yeah, I didn't bring a printout to show you. But those will be back-in spaces. Is those the 2 on the west side? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Because they come in, they're not just straight back.
Yeah, there's a curve.
There's a curve
and a
in the
bend.
spaces.
Yeah.
Is it for the vehicle to go in first?
It
And
is,
then the camper
no,
behind
it's for the
it?
camper to go in first.
Okay.
But if that's a concern, we can alter it. That's
Yeah,
easy.
well, I mean, it just is, it was a little, is
That's how he's done it at other parks he's done.
that right?
He's got a handful of these across the counties.
I did not see a typical for the size of the spaces with the parking, with the dimensions.
Okay, we can add a typical.
Okay,
They're called out on the sheets, but not a typical.
okay. Yeah, the scale is just hard to read.
Sure, it
It's-
is a
this
large
is a tough
parcel,
one to
yeah.
read, yes. Will the garage stay or go?
It will stay.
What will be the use of the garage?
Storage.
And then the house is going to be a manager's office?
House is staying, correct.
Is that where people will check in?
It'll be digital check-in.
Okay. Okay. Well, we won't go through all of this right now because I know we've got a heavy agenda, but just know that we will have some additional planning comments coming forward as well.
Right.
Jesus, if you would, please get the comments from engineering over to the applicant. And does anyone else have any questions at this point? Jamie, do you have any questions for us?
I don't. I mean, we've got plenty of open space to tweak anything we needed. I don't have any real concerns about the comments, to be honest with you.
Understand. Thank you. Do we have anyone from the public that's here to address this particular project? No? Okay. So with that said, I think we have some work to do on this one. I would like to go ahead and continue it. I was thinking July 1st, unless you can turn the comments around by 1 week. If you could get them to us by Wednesday of next week, we could probably accommodate the June 17th. Otherwise, we'll need to do it on July the 1st. I see. I do not know the answer to that question. Well, I mean, in the system. Well, if you're amenable to July the 1st, okay, do we have a motion to continue this to the July 1st meeting at this location?
Motion to continue.
All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Grand Point West Phase 2. This project was also reviewed by Jesus Navarro. We'll ask him to please come up and present it.
Okay, Grand Point West Phase 2, request to approve by development order, project number MIN 26000021 is being reviewed by myself, This is a minor development order application submitted by Jenkins Engineering on behalf of Yauza LLC. The applicant is requesting approval of a development order amendment to modify existing development order number 15-01300047. The proposed changes include the reconfiguration of 4 existing single-family lots, modifications to associated infrastructure, and the addition of 3 new single-family lots on a newly acquired parcel. Upon completion, the development will consist of a total of 27 single-family lots on approximately 4.22 plus or minus acres. The subject property has a future land use designation of residential and is zoned neighborhood infill. It is located within District 5 of 85 Holly Leaf Lane and is identified by parcel number 36 3S 18 161 00 000 105A and also 105B, 105C, 105E, and 1060. This project was reviewed in the TRC, the prior TRC, and there were some outstanding comments that we were waiting to hear back from the applicant. From the time that this staff report was published, all the outstanding comments still remained. In particular, from the planning side, one of our findings was the fact that per the, let me see here, let me get to it. Per the Inlet Beach Neighborhood Plan, Section 2.22B, it states that new residential projects with building over 2 stories in height shall be set back 50 feet from residential preservation zones that contain more than 75% 1 or 2 story dwellings. So we do have that condition within this proposed development. There were also a number of engineering comments as well.
Okay. I apologize, did we enter the staff report into the record?
May I enter the staff report into the record?
So entered. And so this being neighborhood infill, was the neighborhood meeting held?
Yes.
Okay, and did we have any public comments as a result of that?
No.
No? Okay. Have you had public comments otherwise, outside of the meeting?
No.
No?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And the remaining aspects of the Inlet Beach Neighborhood Plan have been accomplished?
Well, we're waiting on the applicant to address the one that I just stated.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. In the next version of the staff report, can we add the neighborhood meeting to the previous actions? The date, and just the fact that it was held, please. And let's see here. So we do have environmental comments. Okay, I don't have any more questions for you, Jesus, at this point. Does anybody have questions for him? If not, we'll call our applicant to the podium, please. Good morning.
Good morning, Christy Jones with Jenkins Engineering. A couple of things. We completed a resubmittal on this project last Thursday, May 14th, to address the outstanding comments. I want to direct a couple of items on the summary, or the review summary in the staff report. A couple of items. South Walton Fire was an approval from March 26th, and it's noted as non-comply. So that one is not applicable at this point. And additionally, Florida DOT noted as TBD, that one also is not applicable. We're not fronting FDOT right away for this particular project. So with that, from my understanding, the only outstanding is going to be from school board with the additional 3 lots. With respect to the Inlet Beach neighborhood plan, with the resubmittal that we completed, that particular thing on our first version of plans that we submitted had an impact on potentially lot 6, 7, and 10. 6, and this was kind of a conversation that was had during the last TRC, was lot 6 was actually an approval from the original development order back in 2016. And that was prior to Inlet Beach's neighborhood plan being in place. And so the only reason that particular lot was included in this segment is because we're revising how the connection to the driveways, the right-of-way in that area, was being implemented. So that is why that particular lot was being incorporated into this phase 2. Hence the historics of it. It was already in place prior to, with no limitations in place. So what we have done with this resubmittal is we adjusted lots 7 and 10. We pulled back lot 10, and lot 7 is going to be the only one that particular, at least, or that code requirement is going to be applicable to have 2-story. So that's been noted in the site data table for this particular project to move forward. The other outstanding comments, he mentioned several engineering comments. We've certainly addressed, in our opinion, those comments at this time. They were relatively straightforward on our side, so we just resubmitted information associated with that. I feel like the resubmittal we just completed should complete what we need for the TRC review, and would be happy to answer any questions.
When did that resubmittal come in? You said?
Thursday last week.
Okay. So, just for the record, once we get those in, they get sent out. Our staff has 7 days to do a review. So I'm confident that the staff report that was published, that we have in front of us, is not the most recent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Christy, will you tell us a little bit of, I see in the environmental notes that there is a condition about buying out some preservation?
Certainly. So from the original development of those original 24 units, there was neighborhood preservation because of the vegetation in the project limits. And so they did an original preservation buyout for a portion of that for that first phase originally. With this new addition of that single parcel to bring it all in, we did make a little bit more impacts to that preservation, which thereby now requires that we have to buy out that remaining amount. The total that they're buying out is between phase 1 and 2 is 14.1%. So
Okay.
you're allowed up to 25.
Okay, that was going to be my next question, so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And just, if you would, make sure that we have those calculations.
Yes.
So that, down the road, folks can understand how we got to the buyout.
Certainly.
Yes.
I did submit a preservation buyout letter with this resubmittal as well.
Okay, all right. So we'll work on getting that processed.
Okay.
Did you have anything else for the committee?
I did not, beyond the fact that I feel that I would like to ask that we be approved conditionally, assuming that we meet these requirements and can work with staff beyond this moment. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Christy? No? Okay. So with that said, do we have anyone from the public that has comments about this project? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and state your name, please. And if we may have to ask you to spell it.
Oh, it's easy. Jim Boone.
I think
just
we can
like
handle
Daniel
that.
Boone, yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm a resident of Grand Point. Have been on a piece of property there for approximately 18 years. Built a house there approximately 7 years ago. I have a lot of history on this piece of property here. It was the Knowles family out of Birmingham, Alabama, started Grand Point back in maybe 03, 02. I bought my piece of property maybe in 05. when there was nothing but a trailer on 98. I walked back in the sand, back by Lake Powell, and said, I want this lot. Lots happened since then. Of course, they went belly up in 607. This piece of the property is always been phase 2 of Grand Point. Of course, it never was developed. It sat there for years and years and years. We have a real issue in Grand Point because all the streets out there are Grand Point Drive, Grand Point West, Grand Point Circle, Grand Point North. And lo and behold, if we don't have on my street 3 24s, Grand Point Drive West, I'm Grand Point Drive North, and then the county let D.O. Horton come in and put a street at the end of my street called Cam Cove. It was an add-on, never was supposed to be there. It's to the right of me and goes into Camp Helen. Street's not very long, but there's a 24 Cam Cove, so now we have 3. That being said, UPS never gets it right, FedEx never gets it right, and lo and behold, Amazon is absolutely atrocious. Because their dots always are wrong, we have a GPS problem. All that being said, the issues we have in Grand Point is we do not want the name Grand Point West for that development. It's already a problem with people trying to find us. I can only imagine somebody comes out there, they're looking for Grand Point. They're going to be in our neighborhood, but they're going to be looking for phase 2 Grand Point West. It backs up to Grand Point, as you can see on there. So me and Tim Donnelly are here from our neighborhood. I tried to get the whole neighborhood to come, but they don't like to come to these kind of meetings.
Boone, if I might, and I apologize for interrupting, but it does look like on the site plan, unless I've missed something, the road, so they come in off of Hollyleaf and then they turn north onto Eagle Point Way, and then the western road, which is a cul-de-sac, is Tiger Trace.
Okay.
So I don't see anything.
So they
with
changed the
Grand Point.
names, right, but it's going to be called Grand Point West.
That's just the name of the subdivision. Am I saying that correct? Okay.
So he is correct that this came through as Grand Point West Phase 2 throughout all the years and such. And with this new intent, when they final to plat this particular project, they're going to rename the subdivision. It's going to be Bell Oaks Inlet Beach. So it will subdivide between the two because I think they already were under the understanding that it was a concern of being called the same type of thing.
So I have a huge ask. Can we do that now? And the reason why is for tracking purposes down the road. If our records folks are looking for the new name, it's sometimes there's a very large disconnect between the name on the DO and the name on the plat.
Happily, yeah.
So we can still call it, the new name formerly known as Grand Point West Phase 2. I think that would be appropriate.
Okay.
But if we could go ahead and get that project name changed now, we would
Happy to.
appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I knew the roads
Thank you.
were not the same. That's great. One other question, the preservation coming in on Holly Lane, will all that preservation be there on, coming Holly Lane until you get to that lake shore, I believe, what it runs into there?
Everything will remain.
Christy, I'm so sorry. Could I ask you to please come to the microphone? That's okay. Thank you.
Easy for you to see. Is this the roadway you're indicating that you want to make sure? Yeah, it will remain. None of that was impacted with this addition. The only impacts to the preservation in this region right here that were previously noted to be included.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Did we answer all your questions, Mr. Boone?
Yeah, thank you
Okay, we
very much.
appreciate your coming.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay, with that said, Jesus, do you have a recommended motion for this project? I need to make a comment real quick first, and I apologize. I know this is running long. My apologies to our applicant for the staff report. There are some issues. I think on page 11 of the staff report, it's showing that there's no preservation fee buyout requested. It's showing that there is a sidewalk buyout pending. Is that accurate? Okay, and then it shows that it's commercial, no rec fee required. This is residential. There will be a rec fee required. There will be a 911 addressing fee required. And there will be the plat recording fee required payable to the clerk's office. Okay? Again, I apologize for that. Do we have a recommended motion for this project?
Yes, to approve, and I will work with the applicant on outstanding comments.
Okay, so I'm assuming that that means that we are conditionally approving it.
Correct.
Once the outstanding comments are addressed successfully, then it'll move to the planning director for issuance of the DO.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to that effect?
Motion to conditionally approve.
Second?
Second.
Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, conditional approval. Please work with our planner on getting these items corrected. Thank you very much. Okay, next item on the agenda is Sawmill Phase 2. We have Bridget Clements who reviewed this project. If you would please give us an introduction.
Hi, good morning. This is Sawmill Phase 2, request to approve by development order, project number MIN 26-000020. It's being reviewed by myself, Bridget Clements. This is a minor development order application submitted by Jenkins Engineering on behalf of Sawmill Subdivision, LLC, requesting to develop 19 single-family residential parcels and associated infrastructure on 20.29 acres with a future land use of rural residential and a zoning category of rural village. The property is located in District 2 and is at the parcel IDs on the staff report. With this one, can I please add the staff report? So I have an updated staff report that I passed out. Something happened in printing between pages like 2 and 3, but the one that was published is the correct one. But I did bring you guys the corrected one.
The one that was published was the correct one?
Yeah, the one that I uploaded to Intergov and on the S Drive was right. Something happened with printing, which put a different project on one of the pages.
Okay, so what our public saw was
This-
correct.
yeah, so this is-
And very few of
Well-
us get a printed version, and that's where the
Well,
error is?
Yes, so if
Okay.
the public went on to Intergov, they would have seen the ones that I passed out this morning, but the ones
I
that
see.
you received, well, I don't know what happened, so.
Okay,
But when I was checking it this morning, I noticed that it had a whole different project on one of the pages.
yes,
So
yes.
that was corrected, so please enter the new staff report into the record.
So entered, and did we give a copy to?
I
Ms.
did.
Cora? Okay, great, thank you.
I think everybody got a copy. So
Okay,
many
great,
copies
great.
everywhere.
Thank you, yeah, that was a question I had yesterday.
With this one, I just want to say the biggest issue we had last TRC was the access, how we were going to access those 3 lots. We talked to Scott Rosenheim,
Okay,
and Exhibit 3 shows that access is called Sally Drive. No, wait, Estelle. Anyway, he gave it his blessing. He says that it is a legitimate access, and I haven't received new civil plans for this, but they're supposed to be updating it to show adequate access.
okay. I have questions about that access. I don't know if it overlaps with anything that engineering has already stated, but let's see, the date of the staff report was May the 12th. So do we still have all of the outstanding planning comments and engineering comments?
Yes, so I haven't had an upload since publishing date for this one that I checked this morning. I don't believe I had anything new. The biggest thing was finding out the access, and we did that, and we're gonna redo the staff report.
Yeah, we
as
need to
well.
make sure that it's identified, if it's public, if it's private, we need to know what type of surface is on that, and the width.
Mm-hmm.
And then, let's see, there's a number of environmental comments on this one.
Yes, and they are up to date.
Okay.
And I think we have comments from engineering, environmental, fire. I think I have North Walton on there. I think it's Argyle though, and I've reached out a couple times
Okay.
because the applicant has said that they believe that that their comments were addressed, and I haven't heard back, but I will reach out again. And then the GIS on the what page? And GIS was also satisfied with what Scott provided for the access. But on page 4, it does say non-comply, but it does.
Okay, and on page, let's see here, 13 of 16 of the staff report, the recording fee was not included. We need to have that added, please.
Okie dokie.
And I don't have any more questions for you, Bridget, at this point. I do have questions for the applicant. Do y'all have questions for Bridget before we bring our applicant up? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning again.
Good morning again. It's Christy Jones with Jenkins Engineering. Just to recap just a tad bit, we did come to last meeting. There was several comments throughout various planning and various reviews regarding that access location. We had indicated at that time that we would find out from county staff if it was indeed county right-of-way, and we did subsequently speak with Scott Rosenheim, who confirmed that it is county right-of-way, so it's public. It's going to be noted as such on our civil plans. It is currently a dirt road, and it will remain as such based on the location of the county that it is located in, and the improvements are not required, as far as I understand, within that part of the county. Okay. Okay. And if so, I mean, certainly we will improve it, but the intent is to keep it as a dirt road as is. The intent is not to make improvements with that. So those indicators have been added to the civil plans. We are finalizing our resubmittal for that. We do not have fire comments as of now. The comment we received previously and originally was that fire was unable to see the actual documents. Bridget's reached out to them twice and has asked, hey, here's the documents. We've not gotten a response from that. From this point forward, we will reach out directly ourselves as well. We've been kind of patiently waiting. I don't know and expect that we're going to have a concern with what they're going to have. However, that's kind of our hold on why we haven't particularly resubmitted at this point. We were wanting to resubmit one more time and be done. So that outstanding item is one element. During our last meeting, we did have a single resident come in attendance and make a comment with concern regarding the allowable water pressure in the area. Since that time, we've reached out to Argyle Water and had communication with them. They're currently having discussions with their board, the fire department, about getting grants to be able to bring in some efforts to help in that manner. But at this point, they've stated that they have capacity for the intended use of our 19 additional lots at this point. Beyond that, I don't have any other items to address or state, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
So the first thing I noticed on this, Christy, was it looks like phase 1 was stubbed out. The road was stubbed out to be a connector road, and it looks like that's going to remain a stub out.
Correct.
So there's no intention to put a cul-de-sac in where those stub outs are?
At this, as we have it designed currently, no. If that becomes a requirement by planning, then we would certainly implement it. But at this point, the original intent for this phase 2 was they were going to do some density bonus credits, and they were going to do affordable housing and lots of townhomes, and that never panned out many, many, many years ago. So it sat idle for a couple decades, I think. So at this point, that is where they took that phase 1 to end there, and that it stopped at that point. But that at this point, we have that shown as property to begin on lot 108, I do believe, and then common area on the north end of the one that stubs out to a dead end.
Okay. So I did not get a chance to dig into this, but I do have concerns about accessing, especially lots 108 and 110. So is this,
So
who's
the-
going to own that access? That is, I guess it's southwest of 109.
It's sure, it's in between lots 2 and 3 of Argyle Road, but it's owned by Walton County. It's county right away.
No, once you, so if I go through that dirt access,
Oh, the easement within the property?
yes.
Mm.
So am I gonna have, if I own lot 108, am I gonna have to drive on lot 109 to get to my property?
We
through an
do
easement?
show an access easement at that point to allow access to the 108 and 110.
So, again, didn't get to dig into this. In briefly talking to Stephen yesterday, we have some concerns about that because that would normally need to be a road to access properties. We don't typically subdivide off of easements. We can look into that a little more closely and reach out to you.
Okay,
See this, the easement here, to hit this lot and this lot. I mean, so if you were to take a fire truck down that lane, I mean, I don't know how.
I mean,
they-
it's 50 feet wide, that easement is, so it's certainly wide enough to accommodate a fire truck. It's a dirt road as is. I don't anticipate,
And you're not even planning on paving that within the development?
no, not for those 3 particular parcels, no.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look at that.
And Scott referred to that LDC code in the last meeting where it wasn't required to actually pave
Okay.
roads within certain territories within the county. So I'm not, I would need to go back myself and
Okay,
refer
yeah.
to that LDC
Yeah, we
section.
do.
It's unique to that region, is what I understand, being rural, so.
I think we're also, my concern is I think we'd be also creating an issue for the future for these other 2 lots, 110 and 108, because, you know, the rules are you can't like subdivide, so they couldn't do a lot split because they'd have no road frontage. So I think we'd be building in a future legal problem, if we did it as drawn, so.
Okay, and we'll certainly take the information and speak with our clients with that.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else for Chrissy while we have her up here?
Yeah, I wanted to, with the addition of phase 2 here, adding all these extra lots puts it over 100 homes. Normally, I know this is in Argyle, but normally anything over 100 homes have a secondary egress, fire and emergency. So I was wondering, what could we do on that?
Understood. And hence partly why we haven't submitted, because we're waiting on fire comments to see if they were going to address such an item. If anything, I believe if we had to, we would continue that stub out on the south end and wrap it around to access to that secondary access that we're showing to lots 108 to 110. That's really the only true solution, I do believe, because it's looped on top of itself internally in phase 1. So if that becomes the comment, then that is, I believe, where we would head down the path to go.
That would actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, since we may have to have a redesign of this project, I'm going to ask that we continue it. But before I do that, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this project? Seeing none, I don't know that we could have it turned around in a week, have revised plans simply because we're waiting on an outside agency. I would like to ask Bridget if you would reach out to Chief Day at Argyle and see if we can help get those comments from them expedited. So with that, could we get a motion to continue this to the July 1st meeting?
Motion to continue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, guys. And let's, if we need to schedule a meeting, maybe it'll probably be the first or second week in June, but we're happy to sit down so that we've got all parties in the room and we can hammer through some of these things. Okay, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is Silver Place, which is reviewed by Tim Brown. We'll ask Tim to please come up and present this one for us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a minor development or application submitted by Jenkins Engineering requesting approval to develop a 14,000 square foot general business establishment with associated infrastructure on 1.55 acres with a mixed, future land use of mixed use and a zoning of coastal center mixed use. The property is located in District 4 on the north side of Highway 98 next to the former Fairfield Inn, which is now the Drury Inn. There has been a resubmittal since this was first aimed at TRC. So now there are only some well, let's see here. There's, looks like the only outstanding comments we have are from environmental. There are a couple outstanding scenic corridor comments, but it looks like planning signed off, fire, public works. Yeah, it looks like environmental is the only outstanding comments right now, and the two minor outstanding scenic corridor comments. So with that, I'd like to enter the staff report into the record, please.
So entered.
And I'll entertain any questions you may have, or I'll turn it over to the applicant.
And so it's general business, are they planning on just having one business in the building, or is it gonna be sublet?
You'd have to ask the
Okay,
applicant.
all right, that may be a good question for them, and I was looking to see what parking code was used. I guess we're using the general business parking code?
Yeah, 1 per 350.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any other, well, the other question is, I'm assuming that the wetland impact reduction to the ISR was calculated in these?
Yes, it was, because it shows
Okay.
the allowable is 65.5, where coastal center mixed use allows for 85.
Okay.
So that's the penalty.
Okay, and on the environmental comments, is there anything in there that would be impossible to achieve?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
The one peculiar thing about this project is the scenic corridor is all wet. All of that is wet, so they're not really putting any landscaping in there so they don't disturb the wetlands. But Brad did make a comment about supplemental planning should be used to meet the minimum requirements using wetland type species. What we did with the Commerce Park PUD near the corner of Veterans Road and Highway 98 is like on the west side of the entrance is upland, on the east side of the entrance is wet. So what we did in that project was we made them put all the plantings on the east side. So the number is correct. They're just all clustered on the east side of the entrance. With this, the entire scenic corridor is a wetland, but Brad does want them to put in some supplemental plantings. But no, I don't see anything that's a problem with his comments.
Did we require a cross-access easement for this one?
To the east, yes, but to the west is a big DOT drainage ditch. So there's really no way to interconnect to the west, but they are interconnecting to the east.
Okay, and I'm seeing a sidewalk on one side, it looks like, as we enter from 98.
It looks like it's on both sides, and more than likely that sidewalk was put in with the DOT widening of 98. But I
Okay,
do see it on either side of the entrance.
okay, maybe I have an incorrect site plan. Right here. Don't see one here.
I mean, it's small and kind of hard to see, but it does look like the sidewalk runs all the way through there. I guess you can't see that.
Can't really see that from here, but, okay. Okay, all right, sounds good. And there's already a county, or I guess, within the DOT right-of-way, a multi-purpose path, is that correct?
I don't think so. Further down or further east, DOT did put a 10-foot multipurpose path on the south side of Highway 98, but I don't believe that's the case here. I think that's a standard sidewalk.
Okay. Well, maybe we can ask our applicant to just confirm that for us. I don't have any other questions for you, Tim, and appreciate that. Thank you.
Morning again, Jamie Eubanks, Jenkins Engineering. Sidewalk is existing. It's a standard 5-foot sidewalk that DOT constructed. I don't have any issues with Brad's comments. I just don't think he's got to them. I'd say probably 60-70% of them are mimicked Tim's original landscaping comments. So there's really not too much outstanding that I'm aware of. There is a full cross-access easement. It does actually run to the ditch. So it runs east and west, even though they'll likely never construct it to the west.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, got it. Okay.
I
But
do
I
have
don't have anything.
one question regarding the retaining wall.
Yeah.
It cites the code for the single-family stormwater portion of it,
Okay, I'll
so
update
it'll
that.
have to be set back from the property boundary accordingly
Okay.
for maintenance and all.
Is that a mosquito control ditch to the west?
It's a DOT ditch.
Oh, okay, okay, thank you.
I don't have anything. I think everything outstanding's extremely minor.
This is just west of the outlet malls, right? Am
Um,
my orientation correct? I mean,
it's
not
across from
abutting,
the
but-
spray fields. South
Exactly,
Walton.
okay, got it. Okay, do we have any, thank you, do you have any questions for Jamie?
A little east of Ponce de Leon, so
Okay.
it's quite a bit west of where you were referring to.
Okay,
It's on the other side of that ditch is the
Blake.
Blake.
And I
yeah.
said spray fields. I meant the treatment plant.
Yeah, the wastewater treatment plant is on the south side of Highway 98, pretty much immediately across from this.
I knew where you meant, the spray field that's permitted that they're not currently using. So, I did have the question, is this gonna be just one tenant?
It is designed for the potential for multiple. It has either option.
I see, okay. So how did we address the floor plans with it being that way?
We provided floor plans that showed the potential breakdown.
I see, okay. All right. Looks like Tim has something else.
Well, I missed it initially. There is an outstanding mosquito control comment that,
Yeah, I just don't think Darren's gotten to it. He asked us to add some extra inspection ports for the stormwater, which we did.
and I know Brad has not reviewed the resubmittal yet, so we don't have his comments, and it may be the same with Darren as well.
Yeah, I just don't think I'll call him.
Okay. Do we have anyone from the public here that has questions about this project? Seeing none. Tim, do you have a recommended motion on this?
Yes, I think these remaining comments are pretty minor, so my recommendation would be to conditionally approve it and move it forward to the design review board once all outstanding comments have been addressed.
Do we have a motion to that effect? And a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. See here. Let's see. I had a request to move number 10 forward. Do we have our applicant here, Choctaw Engineering? Good morning. Do you mind being moved up on the agenda for this particular review? Okay. If you would, so we're going to look at number 10, which is Sunrise Coffee. And this project was reviewed by Tim Brown. I'd like to ask Tim to please give us a presentation on it.
Yes, thank you, and I appreciate you moving this up for me.
Welcome.
This is a minor development or application submitted by Choctaw Engineering requesting approval to convert an existing single-family home into a 1,016 square foot coffee shop on the first floor with a second-story apartment on .45 acres with a future land use, mixed use, and a zoning of village mixed use. The property is located in District 5 at 3185 County Highway 38 West. Since the staff report went out, I did receive fire and environmental comments. Fire has signed off on it. Environmental does have 9 outstanding comments. As far as the other departments are concerned, there are outstanding planning comments. And Public Works, both, well, right-of-way, stormwater, and traffic have not, I think that covers it. Planning, Public Works, environmental. And I did receive one public comment, an email that they have concern about music. They say music carries quite well over the lake or across the lake. I don't know if they plan on playing any music, but that's the concern that I received. And with that, I'd like to enter the staff report as well as the 2 comments from fire and environmental into the record, please.
Okay, so entered. Tim, this has residential preservation to the east and to the south, it looks like. I don't have the landscape plan in front of me, but just looking at the site plan, do we have an adequate buffer? I see that if the site plan is correct, it's vacant to the south, but it does appear to have a house on it to the east.
No, one of my comments was that, let me find it here. I thought I made a comment about, yeah, commercial next to single family requires a 20-foot landscape buffer on the west side.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I think they're showing 10, but the code requires 20, and they also didn't have the, and of course, this is existing, so they may or may not be able to make it work, but they didn't show the commercial setbacks, so one of my comments was commercial setbacks are 25, 20, and 10. Also, they were using 12 units per acre for VMU, but VMU under 3 acres is limited to 8 units per acre. So those were some of my comments. They're not all, but yeah, that particular question, they do have to have, unless they want to do the screen wall, they can drop it down to 5 feet if they do the screen wall.
Do you have anything else for us, Tim?
No, I don't.
Anyone have any questions for Tim? Okay. So if we would ask our applicant to please come up and state your name for the record, please.
Morning, Mark Steiner, Choctaw Engineering, representing the applicant. So all the comments that Tim made and Wyatt made, I've already addressed 2 weeks ago, because we were originally supposed to be here before the May 6th meeting, and I asked to be continued because we just received the comments before then. So those have already been addressed. That landscape buffer Tim requested, we already put on the plans, and it's already been resubmitted to the county. We just got the environmental comments just a day or 2 ago, and so I have those. So putting in the buffer is not an issue. The only challenge we have is because of the fact that it's an existing development and we're not making any changes to anything on the site in regards to what's already there. In that buffer, I don't know if you can see it on the plan or whatever, there's an existing deck, and a portion of the building extends beyond that 20 feet. We're not planning on making any alterations to the building, any building. We're basically doing, it's an interior remodel, and just basically it's a change of use.
Yeah, well,
So the question I'm asking is, do we have to take the decking and everything out of the buffer?
Yes.
What about the part of the existing building? how do I chop off part of an existing building? Or is there some other way to meet the buffering besides putting in a 20-foot landscape buffer?
Well, you can do the screen wall, but what we've done in the past is, as long as you're not adding to the building, then it's considered grandfathered. Like when we did Down Island Restaurant, because they were adding to that building, because it was already encroaching into the setback, we made them get a variance. But if they hadn't been adding to the building, it was just the existing one there, we were not going to require the variance.
Right, and I would be okay with that if it wasn't a change of use, but once we change the use, I think that we run into issues with that. I can confirm that with Stephen. I don't know if Brooke has an opinion on it or not.
That would be the only alternative, is to get a variance.
And I don't know what a hardship would be for that. I mean, is there any reason that the deck would need to stay?
The deck is not my biggest concern. It's there's a portion of a enclosed porch that's right there that's part of the building. Decking we could probably get rid of relatively easy. That's
Right.
it. So if that's what you want us to do, we can do that. But like Tim said, it's an existing building. The people who built the house next door actually built the house after this building was already built. So they've obviously known it's been there this whole time. And to address the comment regarding the music, I don't think that's a problem because, whatever county ordinances are for, playing music and all that stuff, we'll meet all that. So that's not an issue. And there's no, it's a coffee shop. It's not in a bar or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's really an issue.
The problem is, though, I mean, once this use is created, then it can change into a restaurant or what have you, and so it would still be the same. So just because the intended use at this point is only a coffee shop, that you're still talking about some type of, food beverage service type establishment, so.
Yeah, but it would still just have to meet the county ordinances just like everybody else.
Well, I think if I'm tracking right with Brooke here, the fact that once we do this DO and change it to allow the commercial on the first floor, if they did want to come in, say with like she said, with a restaurant, and with or without alcohol, doesn't.
Are we talking about
matter so
are we
much,
talking about
but
the music issue?
We could just do a cluck and then it would change, right? So we wouldn't have to do another DO if the parking was adequate. Once we make that bottom floor commercial.
Okay.
So I think if we made I don't know if we have the ability to make a condition of approval. No.
I don't think you can do that.
Okay.
I don't think you want to do that because you'd be spending half your day trying to keep up with conditional DOs.
In the 20-foot buffer is what I'm understanding, correct? The building is in the 20-foot buffer.
Portion of the building is, yeah.
But if you reduced it down with some kind of a barrier wall, would you be able to?
The screen wall will allow it to go down to 5 feet.
I can do that.
I don't know if that's a viable option
Oh,
for
yeah,
you and
sure.
your client, or
I mean, I think
I would much rather do that than take part of the building down. So let's just go with that.
I think as long as there's a viable option, I think we're okay to go that route. But I at this point, if the building's established, but they're wanting to do something more, I think we'd be more or less adding to, the nonconformity and the issue of, and with it being a grandfathered status, that's for the building itself. I think if we're going to have to do a landscape buffer, it's going to have to be with the screen wall in this particular instance.
But now, just to make sure I'm clear, the building meets the setback.
Correct.
The building would not, if we did require the 20-foot buffer, then that's where the problem is.
Correct. That's it. Yeah, we're good on the setbacks.
Okay, all right, that helps.
Yeah.
And we need to have a condition of approval for the screen wall with a reduced landscape buffer,
No problem.
so.
I just wanted to point out that it could convert to a restaurant, but VMU less than 3 acres is limited to neighborhood commercial uses.
Thank you for that. Yes, okay.
And the parcel that the building's on is VMU.
Yeah, I
So,
noticed that.
so
yeah.
it could be it could do a change of use and turn it into
That's
commercial
true.
one day, and then we would have built a buffer next to something that's already commercial. So it's kind of, when you have VMU and you have residential and this mixed
Yeah.
use thing, unfortunately, the commercial side gets punished if somebody builds a residential in that. And the ironic part about it is we're gonna have residential on top of our commercial. So, I mean, it's truly a mixed use that we're doing, and theirs is a single use kind of thing. So
And-
it's an anomaly that pops up every once in a while.
Just the fact that it's RP, I certainly would want us to provide as much protection as we could to the folks with the RP.
Yeah, and that's on the other side and to the south, and we're putting the buffer in for that, so that's.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And then one other thing, so on the environmental comments, the only thing I had in there was, it says preservation is required, even though our EA said that it wasn't. But I just we're only taking out one tree. It's in the middle of the parking lot. It's not contiguous with anything, and we're keeping all the rest of the vegetation on site.
Okay.
The owner was adamant that he wants to basically keep the existing gravel parking lot exactly the way it is and keep all the trees that we have. And that includes the front buffer. The front buffer is existing, kind of reminiscent of what we used to do, where it was like you basically did preservation along the whole entire, front of the
Front,
30A.
yes.
It's got a mixture of some pines and some palmettos and all sorts of things, and it's fully grown up. So I would rather not have to supplement it with any additional, plantings at this point in time, because like I said, it's fully established and it's been that way for probably since forever. And it looks really good.
And looking at this, it's kind of hard to tell, but where you've got your loading zone, so you come off of 30A onto existing gravel, is that area,
That's gravel.
okay, I didn't know if there was a void there where it's got almost like a triangle, just to the north of the loading zone?
All that triangular place around that's all vegetated right now. It's in the northwest corner.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all
Well,
vegetated.
yeah, the, sort of it's northwest center. Okay. All right, well, with that, does anybody have questions for Mr. Sonner before we open it up to the public? No? Okay.
Good, all right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Barber? You would please give us your name for the record?
Good morning, Barbara
Good morning.
Morano. I'm representing South Walton Community Council. I'm also representing Draper Lake Coastal Village Board. But because you moved this up quickly, there is the Crescent K president is not here because we thought we were going to miss the opening.
I see.
So I'm also representing her as well. That's the letter that you have. And I'd like you to refer to the letter. Even though it's one comment, I'm also here for Draper, which is another adjacent neighborhood association. Keep in mind that you have that outside deck on the plan, a large outside deck. And I know it's VMU, but what I'm asking you to do is approve this with condition of absolutely no music and outside events like weddings, et cetera. And I bring your attention to the code. The code is village mixed use. And it's number 8, it says commercial outdoor amusement uses are specifically prohibited in this district. So, therefore, there should be no question about that. The gentleman said we'll go according to code, so if he does, then he'll go according to the village mixed use code. And I wanted that to be perfectly clear. This Sunrise Coffee Shop is on the lake, and this community has been fighting Sunliner Diner, has been fighting wedding venues, and everyone must enjoy a quality of life, which is to sit on porches without listening to music. So I'm asking that this be a condition to be placed on this development.
So I noticed that, thank you, was that all that you had to offer at this point?
Yeah, but is that something that you would consider? I'm hoping.
I believe that legal said that that's not a condition that we can impose.
Well, it's in the code.
I don't know that that's a condition that we can impose as part of a development process. I think they would still have to comply moving forward from here with whatever the code says.
So the code says commercial outdoor amusement uses are specifically prohibited in the district.
And I'd have to pull up the glossary to see if we have a definition of,
You do, in the glossary, you say an outdoor performance area is an area permanently dedicated to the public presentation of music. And there's an outside deck there.
But I think it speaks to things like as live music, of having a performer out there or something.
Well, that's
something of that sort.
Well, again,
I'm not
that's the gray area of the opinion, but they're talking about having a guitar. And they could, as you say, anything can happen in this district. It's not very specific to Sunrise Coffee Shop. So what we're allowing here can go on, as you say, for a restaurant. It's village mixed use, and our concern is a neighborhood. And you have right next door reservation preservation.
okay. And we might have to look into that to see if that's a condition. But
I appreciate
we
that.
can certainly do that if that's satisfactory, and we can reach back out to you.
I
on that.
appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank
Appreciate
you.
your comment. Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Do we have anyone else? And I just noticed that there aren't any environmental comments in the staff report itself. I'm,
That's because they got to you too late.
okay, they came after the
Yeah.
report was released.
So, but I have no problem with any of those. The last three are standard generic comments that they always make about permits that you need. And just to let you know, because of the fact that the code specifically says that you can't do certain things in that district, then we can't do that. So
Right.
there's no reason to put a condition as to the DO to say we can't do something that the code already says that you can't do. And if they do something like that, that's more of a code enforcement action than it is a development order issue.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, but like I said, all the comments have been addressed except for just making this change to the buffer, and that's it. And then we can we'll submit that to the staff, and then everything else is already done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Tim, do we have a recommended motion on this one?
First, I want to correct the official record. What I handed out was the fire comments for this. Actually, the environmental were for the previous item, Silver Place. So I was only entering the fire comments into the record. Yes, I mean, it seems like these comments are relatively minor. So my recommendation would be to move it forward, conditionally approve it, and move it forward to the director to issue the development order once all outstanding comments have been resolved.
Okay. And I'd like to ask if you could help us make sure that we reach out to, once Brooke can do some research to see if we can, or if we should, if we can, include any kind of condition on the music. I understand the use is limited, but because we had a public comment on, 2 public comments on it, we'll see if we can, if there's anything we should or could do on that one. So we have a recommended motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this will be moving forward to development order once all outstanding comments are resolved with the conditions included in the staff report. Okay.
Very much.
Thank you. How's everybody doing? We've been going an hour. Does anybody need a break? Okay. Everybody good? Okay. So now we'll get back to the agenda with item number 6. That's 64 Topsail Village. That was reviewed by Ayanna Reed. We'll ask her to please come forward and present the staff report.
Good morning. So item number 6 is 64 Topsail Village Drive. This is a request to approve by development order, project number MIN 26000026. This is a minor development order application submitted by Emerald Coast Associates Engineering LLC on behalf of Ceres Capital Santa Rosa LLC, requesting to redevelop an existing commercial building to commercial lodge on 0.12 plus or minus acres with a future land use of mixed use and a zoning category of village mixed use. The property is located in District 4 at 64 Topsail Village Drive and can be identified by the parcel number in your staff report. May I enter the staff report into the record? Before I proceed, let me check one thing on the zoning. That zoning is incorrect. May I make a correction for the record? It's zoned as, okay, never mind, we're good. It's village mixed use.
Okay.
Okay. So a couple of things that stand out with this project. We'll start with, okay, so we'll start with the pending technical reviews. We are awaiting reviews from environmental planning in South Walton Fire District. And we are also pending staff confirmation of the parking space calculations, given the change of use for the site. We did receive a public comment letter in opposition to the change of use. May I enter that also into the record?
Yes, so entered.
There are a couple of items that I did want to get some guidance from the board on, particularly on the survey that was provided. It shows that the existing building is encroaching on the southeast corner or the southeast property line into the common area. In my professional opinion, I'm not seeing that being an issue in terms of the encroachment, unless there are some conditions with the entitlements of the Topsail Village, Phase 2, which is the previously approved development order for this parcel, that could cause that encroachment to be a problem. So we did have a meeting with the applicant where we had this discussion. And unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to dig into it a little bit deeper, but I'm hoping I can get some guidance from the board on how we want to approach that.
So is exhibit number 2 is the survey, is that, or is that what we're using for reference?
Yes.
Site plan, but it includes the
Yeah,
survey.
site
Okay.
plan / survey.
So the building is over, it doesn't just encroach, right? It looks like it's over the
It's,
property line.
yeah, it is over the property line.
We'll ask our applicant to address this. Is this the one that we spoke about, that these lines were, they did not go through a formal process with the county planning
Yes.
to get
Yeah,
the
it
lots
is.
divided? This was done through the property appraiser for tax purposes?
Right, correct,
Okay,
correct.
okay.
And that's something that I think having some guidance from the board on how the applicant should address that and how we should address that moving forward would be helpful. Let's see, I did route the project this morning for a second round of review, second or third round. So right now it's pending review from planning and engineering because this last status was a revised resubmit. So I just want to add that to the record also.
Was this a PUD when it was approved?
No, we did quite a bit of research to find out if it was a part of a PUD, but the previous approval is a development order Topsail Village Phase 3. And the applicant did provide that information. But I think the biggest concern that we're having is the fact that according to the PUD, it shows that it was platted as, the existing building was platted as an office use. So now we are proposing a commercial lodging use. It's still commercial in nature in terms of the uses, but it's not what was previously platted. So we're trying to figure out a way to help the applicant be able to move forward without there being issues of compliance in the future. So that's all I have for now. Unless you have any other questions for me, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
All right, that'd be great, thank you.
Yes, I do. I can provide that to you. Is it okay if I provide that after the meeting? Okay.
Okay, if we could hear from our applicant, please.
Good morning, Dean Burgess with ECAE LLC. A couple things that I'd like to correct or clarify for the record. The original Topsail Village was a master plan development. It was not recorded as a PUD, and this particular building in it was not platted. It's a retail office building currently is its development order use. There was not a plat that established this as a commercial building. It was just part of the development order. What we are seeking to do initially seemed like it should be a CLUC to me. It's a change of use of the building. It was determined due to a couple of code matters that came about that it needed to go through a development order. So that's why we're here. What we did was a traffic equivalency, which is typical for the county whenever you have a change of use. And it turns out that as an inn or as a hotel type use, it actually decreases traffic, decreases your concurrency requirements. Also, parking decreased. I think the original use required 6 parking spaces. This only requires 4. So we've prepared a response to the comments. We have not submitted it yet because we're waiting on environmental and fire. We continued last TRC meeting in anticipation of getting those comments. We still have not. I intend to resubmit our comments because we're tired of waiting. And we've got to do something about environmental not getting their reviews done.
Well, and we do have interviews coming up to try to hire and, that backup position.
But I don't think there'll be any environmental comments. This is really should have been the first thing off of his desk because it's already developed. There is no wetlands, threatened and endangered species, or anything of environmental concern. So, but we are prepared to resubmit, and I'd like to ask the board's approval to move forward pending our response. Thank you.
Do we have anyone from the public here regarding this project? I understand we have the letter of opposition. Does anybody want to speak from the public? Seeing none? Okay.
Regarding the letter of opposition, the concern there was from the Pauls, who we originally did the master plan for, and I've spoken with them, and I don't believe that they have further concern. I can't speak for them. But their main concern was we've got a basket of this many hotel units, and I think they were thinking on it as like a residential number of units. And because hotel units are commercial in Walton County, if we're able to demonstrate that from a concurrency standpoint, it's a reduction in use, then they actually can convert the retail office use to the units, and it does not affect their density. In other words, they thought these folks need to buy 4 units from them. They've still got the number of units remaining of hotel per the original development order.
So, speaking of buying, Dean, it looks like this property may be on the MLS. Is it being offered for sale?
I don't know.
And we may need I don't want to put you on the spot, Brooke, but a legal opinion on how the property line's going over it's not a property created by,
Yeah, I can elaborate on that. I think as we discussed, you know, with Steve and most of the planning staff, that was created by Burke and Blue attorneys. And I think what they were trying to do is give each building some form of ownership, that they own this parcel or whatever space that they're on. But from the development order point of view, it was never reviewed by the county. It was never reviewed through me. And I don't think the county should recognize those parcels with regard to the master plan development order.
and maybe not, and I do remember us having that conversation, and my only concern is if it is for sale, and then we have a problem, potentially. It looks like maybe even the dumpster's not even on the parcel, which would then, it's not under unified control like, you know, like a master plan, you know, when it was master planned.
They're still subject to, I would say they're still subject to those covenants and restrictions for the master planned Topsail Village.
Yeah. So, but Brooke is just pointing out the areas that go over these, I'm also not going to say property lines, parcel lines that were
Right.
created through the property appraiser.
I would think that before the county can sign off on agreeing to something like an electric transformer pad on servicing this property, but located on another property, I think we would have to see an easement or something giving that ability. So I understand it wasn't done with the county.
We're not
sign off
asking the county to
originally.
agree to the
So-
parcels that were created. And I don't think it should be, or even specifically, it should be excluded from the development order.
Can you provide the history of when the parcels were created, uploaded to this application, just for us to review? Do you have any documents on that you could share?
I can show you the parcels that were created and drawn. They were literally created, the description was created by Burke and Blue, drawn by GeoPoint Surveying, and recorded with the property appraiser. But I can provide that information, but again, I don't think the county is required or should accept it, because it creates problems. And
I
it
don't know
never
that I
went through the
wanna
development
have-
order process.
I don't know that I want to have the full conversation that probably needs to be had about this right now. I feel like this meeting should be a little more limited than that, but I mean, we're looking at least 2 electric transformer pads that are located off of the parcel that is in discussion and on a neighboring parcel. Is that correct?
I can't answer that right now. I haven't studied the transformers and whether they are on or off the parcel, because again, I don't think these parcels should be recognized. There's other problems. Does parking work? The master plan relied on shared parking, and all of the parking spaces are available to all of the various uses within the master plan.
But that would be something that was already decided upon within the master plan.
Correct. We did the master plan, so I know. Basically, there wasn't parking that was specific for each building. It was a total parking parking count that was applied across the entire master plan.
But these transformer pads, these are on, I mean, okay, maybe not specifically transform, maybe I'll move on from asking specific about those things, but there are things on this map, is that correct, that are servicing the parcel in question, but are located on other parcels?
That's very possible, yes.
I don't think
I
that
didn't,
we
I wasn't
can-
involved in how they split it up and whether the transformer for this building was included in this parcel. I don't know.
I don't think that the county can sign off on allowing those things to happen on our end, without at least an easement or something, allowing that to be done on those adjoining parcels. 'Cause we're, at that point, we would be, as
I
the
think
county,
that,
agreeing
that
to
takes the county
encroachment.
into endorsing the parcels, and I don't think you want to do that.
I feel pretty strongly at this point that we need to have a conversation with the attorney or something that drew this up. We need to get some understanding of what's going on, why there are different parcels and encroachments on those parcels and how those have been allowed. You know, is it something that's been made part of the master plan or I'm just not sure that we can essentially give away a piece of another parcel without some type of agreement from that other property.
That's why I keep coming back to that. I don't think the county should endorse that. I don't believe it will work.
I don't know that we so it's, the survey itself shows the encroachments, and I don't know that we as staff have the authority to approve it this way.
I think we'd be endorsing this survey if we approve.
And then government action is taken. We may.
Showing that it's the same owner.
I think we probably need to have an offline discussion on this one rather than hold everybody up, because we're not going to get anywhere, I don't think.
I would like to add for the record that the transformer pad that you're referring to on the northwest side, that's on the neighboring property, that is, according to the property appraiser, a common owner. It's the same owner as the parcel that we're talking about today. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but I figured I'd add
two separate
that.
pads, plus there's also
Mm.
reference to a dumpster pad that I don't see a specific drawing about, but it appears to be pointing to the neighboring parcel as well as on the southeast side, there are two little jut outs, it looks like, that I'm not really sure what the story is with that. Is that part of this parcel? Is it part of the neighboring parcel? I'm not really clear
Yeah,
how
that's a
that
part of the
goes.
common area.
And
In the maps,
in
and
the-
this is a part of this parcel, which is the same owner as this parcel.
And in the staff report, you've provided the MLS listing, which, is, I just feel like it may be problematic if this sale without us having that resolved.
We've contacted Burke and Blue 4 or 5 times, and they sent us basically a title policy. I can send that to you, Brooke, if you'd like. It didn't answer my question. My question was how were these parcels created, and did they go through the planning department? And they just sent this document to me. I'll forward it to you and upload it to the portal.
And if you could make sure to provide me whatever contact name that you've been contacting about this particular project, so I can try to follow up with that person as well.
Okay.
Instead of it just going to a black hole of 50
Sure.
different attorneys.
It's Rob Blue, but he's semi-retired. All right.
Okay. Do you think we could get this resolved before the next TRC meeting, or?
I would like to think that it could be done before the next meeting. I guess it also depends on the responsiveness from there.
Because the staff report would be due on the 26th, the 25th is a holiday. That would put the meeting on June 3rd. So that gives us after today, 2 business days to get this resolved before the staff report's due. So I'm leaning toward the 17th. That would give us, that staff report would be due on the 9th. That would give us an extra, let's see, 1, 2, 3. That'd give us about 10 business days to get it resolved.
That would be much preferable. I will not physically be here on the 17th, but whatever opinion that I need to render from this, then I'll make sure to have it to you. I just won't be here to answer any questions from there. So
Okay.
hopefully we'll be able to take care of it outside of this.
Okay, I'll get you the person I've been in contact with at Burke and Blue.
Thank you, and I apologize for having to continue this again. I know you've been trying to get it through the process, so, But could I get a motion to continue to the June 17th meeting, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we'll continue this one to June 17th, same place. Yes. Yes, we can, let's see, it's 10.
thought you were asking me how much longer we have to be like Alex. Honey.
Would you like it cracked or it's
There at this point.
Yeah, so the Department of War, they're getting things to do.
Oh, no.
So, I believe I do have the trash pack, and it's a conflict between the two owners not wanting to pay the electric bill. Something, I'll brief you, I don't really understand, because they didn't understand.
Sorry about that. I guess not. So we're calling the meeting back to order at 10:38. The next item on the agenda is the hideout, and that was reviewed by Bob Barante. We'll ask him to please present the agenda item.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
This request is approved by Development Order Project Number MIN 26-000031. This is a minor development order application submitted by Emerald Coast Associates Engineering, LLC, on behalf of Paradise Biker, LLC, requesting to develop an improved parking area, a storage, and 2 covered open-air structures on 79.62 plus or minus acres with a future land use and zoning category of general agriculture. The property is located in District 2 at 8704 State Highway 81, and the parcel number is identified in the staff report. Madam Chair, I'm sure with your long-term residency, you know the place we're talking about. It's a non-conforming use. It's been there for a number of years. The comments, other than Public Work Engineering, they had some control of access questions. There is a catch on this, and I have talked to the Director of Code. There is an outstanding magistrate fee lien on this property for being being in violation. However, it's an egg before the chicken. They won't let them go ask for forgiveness or waiving until the DO's issued. but we're not gonna issue the DO until that's taken care of. So speaking with the director, if we get to the point that it's conditionally approved and all comments addressed, I will let the director of code know, and then they can move, and then if that's all resolved and we have it documented, we'll give the DO to the director to consider. There's really not many outstanding comments. We're trying to bring this in compliance as much as we can with the current code. Can I enter the staff report into the record?
So entered.
There's been no public comment, and I don't believe that these comments would be time consuming to address. If you don't have any questions for me, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
I do have a question. Excuse me, Bob. I don't know if you'll be the one to answer it, if it needs to be the applicant. But when the conditional use for this was approved by the Board of Zoning Adjustment, was it basically a blanket approval, or is this an additional stage from what they approved?
The answer's sort of. It kind of was a blanket, but they're moving these improvements.
Moving them?
Or they're, with this development order, it will finalize the improvements of the conditional use.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Bob? All right. I'll ask our applicant to please come give us a presentation.
Dean Burgess with ECAE LLC. We've read the staff report, spoken with Bob. We do believe we can respond to these in short order. I did want to mention that with regard to the Public Works comment, the access, we've been in touch with DOT, and they do want a single controlled 24-foot wide driveway. They've been pretty specific about that, and it will be permitted through a safety upgrade. And the parking that currently is between the road surface and the parking lot, it's kind of all one piece of pavement. We will be required to remove that, so the end result will be a single controlled access in and out.
Or reflect that on the new plans?
Yes, we'll be resubmitting that. We are pending environmental comments on this. I see that the box isn't checked that they've been issued. I'd like to resubmit this as quickly as we can. If we can ask Brad to get his comments over to us. Other than that, I agree with Bob that we can respond to these and hopefully move this forward to code and development order review.
Let me ask you this, Dean. You've done this for a long time. So in terms of environmental, I typically don't like to move it forward unless we have those. However, I'm assuming that he reviewed it during the conditional use.
I'll have those before the end of tomorrow afternoon.
And I was going to ask, are we impacting any wetlands? Is there any protected species based on the EA that might be impacted?
All the work has been done in already disturbed areas. The parking
Okay.
lot that is being paved was a dirt parking lot.
Okay, so there shouldn't be anything major for environmental, maybe some labeling or some general comments. So I'm comfortable with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have anyone from the public that wants to speak on this application? Seeing none. Bob, do you have a recommended motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. Recommend conditional approval pending successful resubmittal of any outstanding comments and resubmittal period. A acceptance from the magistrate to waive the fees or fees be paid. Then at that point, we'll issue the development order.
Okay, we have a recommended motion. Does anybody want to make the recommended motion?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this one's
Thank you,
conditional
Madam
use.
Chair.
Thank you, Bob. Next, we have Bitter Ends Estates that was reviewed by Bridget Clements. You would give us an introduction on this one, please, ma'am.
Okay, good morning again. Yep, still morning. This request is for Bitter End Estates, a request to approve by development order, project number MIN 26-000027, being reviewed by myself, Bridget Clements. This is a minor development order application submitted by Emerald Coast Associates Engineering, LLC, on behalf of Windsor Place, LLC, requesting to modify an existing DO, which is MIN 24-000042, and add 0.21 acres, which will result in an increase to lots 2 and 5 on the already 1.13 acres with the future land use of mixed use and a zoning category of coastal center. The property is located at District 4 at the south end of Tangomar on the parcel IDs that are provided in the staff report. With this one, I will say the staff report was published on 5/12, and they did send comments. I mean, not comments. They uploaded documents on 5/12 as well. I don't have those with me here, but I will say that did happen. They haven't been routed through InterGov, so I think I just kind of missed them. So apologies for that. The main issue why this was continued last TRC was the portion that they're adding, the 2.1 acres, which is like a backwards L shape on the east and south side. We just wanted to know more information about that. I did request via email, and it's not on the staff report, apologize for that, for the title work for that sliver of land to be provided. I'm still waiting on that. In the meantime, I know, Kelly, you are familiar with this project because you did the original DO, and we have discussed easement that was found. I'm not 100% sure if it would be a civil issue or if it's our issue. I did reach out for guidance in the office, and and the guidance was to mention that we did request the title work and that we're still waiting on that. Other than that, the environmental and fire, I did not check those this morning as of publishing date. They were still outstanding. And then my comments were, besides the question of the title search, my review comments were very negligible almost. And then we have engineering comments still outstanding.
So I seem to recall on this one that this may be for the applicant too, Bridget, that if you can't answer it, that we were moving the buildable area out of that easement.
That was what we discussed last time, and,
Okay.
and like I said, they did whiplash me a little bit with response to comments on the 12th,
All
and I
right,
did not
just
review
making sure
those.
that this site plan, okay, all right, sounds good.
So this was the site plan from the previous.
Did we enter the staff report into the record?
Oh, can I please enter the staff report into the record?
Yes, so entered.
Oh, and then also the new exhibit of the easement for the fence.
Okay.
That we're just a little confused on.
Yes, okay, that sounds great. Does anyone have anything for Bridget? Okay, we'll ask our applicant to come forward, please.
Thank you.
Bridget.
Good morning, Dean Burgess with ECAE LLC. We have responded to these comments. I understand Bridget hasn't had a chance to review them. We responded to the engineering comments, et cetera. And we have received the easement, and we will have title run on said easement. We have, I can confirm, Lot 2, we did show the building envelope extending into that easement area. In accordance with the easement, nothing's supposed to be built in it, so we have pulled that out. The new plans show that there will be nothing constructed in the easement. I read through the easement agreement. We don't have any problems meeting the conditions of that easement agreement. So with that, I would request that we be able to move this to DO pending favorable response to outstanding comments.
So by easement agreement, I don't know if Bridget gave you a copy of what she provided us. Is this the easement agreement to which you're referencing?
Yes.
Okay.
we'll clarify for the record that it's an easement that was dated the 23rd of October, 2006 between Tangomar Property Owners Association, Inc. and Camping on the Gulf Land LLC.
Correct.
It is sorry to jump in it, but one of the very first thing in the easement that's requested is a cement wall to be constructed. Has that been done?
Camping on the Gulf did construct the wall. It does exist. That's the wall that's shown on the plans.
So that's going to now be on private property.
Sorry?
That's now going to be on the private property, the wall,
It is.
instead of within the control of the homeowners association.
It will be controlled by this homeowners association, by
With-
the Bitter End Homeowners Association.
So has there been any transfer of maintenance and repair between owners association for that wall?
I am not familiar with any formal transfer of that, but they are still bound to the conditions of this easement, as far as my understanding.
You said you did get that while she's reading through. You got the title work back, or you're waiting on the title work?
We have requested it.
Okay. We did a lot of digging just to see if it was, I mean, it would, just common sense looking at it, it almost looks like it should be beach access for the owners to the north. And we were just trying to figure out if there was something to that effect. But the only thing we found was this one related to the wall with Camping on the Gulf and the maintenance. It addresses maintenance and such.
Right.
And obviously, as far as the construction goes, this is really going to be an not necessarily part of the construction process. So with the easement, this isn't going to be an area that is going to be the primary access for construction purposes, or because you won't really have any construction.
No, there won't be any activity in the easement.
But everything to do with the property that's, or the houses that are going to be going in here, it's not going to interfere in any way with the rights of ingress and egress for the grantors of this easement?
No, it won't.
Are you comfortable with it? Okay, great. All right, thank you, Dean. Do we have anyone from the public that wanted to speak on this project? Good morning, sir. If you could please come forward and state your name for the record.
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Robert Predella. I'm a neighbor of this development to the north.
Okay.
I was coming up here to talk about something else, but I'm surprised the easement was just brought up. The easement that you guys are researching is not next to this development. The easement that you're researching is north of the lake. It's a wall that's north of the lake. It's not anywhere near this project. If you get the survey out and actually do the coordinates, that easement between Tangomar Association and Camping on the Gulf is in a completely different area of Tangomar. It's not near. These guys are referencing it next to their property. It's not.
Okay.
The wall, that 15-foot strip of land is not an easement. It's a 15-foot strip of land that the LLC has bought, or not bought, but quit claim deed from the association. So it's just a piece of land. It's not an easement. And it has a covenant restriction on it that nothing's going to be built on it. The owner has said he's not going to build on it. The developers pushed stuff back. So I don't have a problem with that. I just want to clear the record that there's no easement that the easement that you guys are talking about is north of the lake, and it's a completely different area. It's got nothing to do with this project.
Thank you for that.
Pertaining to easements, I believe I've done the research, and the easement that's on the southern part where he has a southern entry into Lot 5, that easement doesn't go all the way to his property, so it stops 25 feet short. That non-exclusive easement that is shown as like Tanglemar Road, it takes a left turn or an east turn down by the beach. That was, excuse me, I'm a little nervous. That was developed a long time ago for the beach properties down there. The property that's being developed here was just a one-house property, and they have their easement up to the north. So if you look at the survey that they have submitted, there's a little line there, about 25 feet prior, and that shows the end of the non-exclusive easement. So they need to get another 25-foot easement to get into that southern access. And on the northern easement, which gets them into the lots 1, 2, 3, and 4, that northern easement doesn't match up perfectly with their 20-foot road that they have proposed, which is actually still there. But the easement covers like the top 15 feet, the north 15 feet. If you look at the shaded area easement up on the north, you can see it doesn't go right into the road. It doesn't connect to the bottom or the southern 5 feet. And I don't think the owner's going to have a problem talking with the association and getting those easements, but they just haven't been asked for yet. And those are some technical issues that need to probably get cleaned up.
I do appreciate that. I noticed that because when we looked at this back in '04, I remember bringing the issue up of the one on the north, but I don't remember the level of discussion on it. I do not remember any discussion about that on the south, but I do.
Yeah,
see what you're,
I was
what
doing
you're
research on it just to make sure everything was looking good for the association. And I realized back in the days of old when handshakes were done and parcels were divvied up, and then people go, hey, I actually need access to my property. They made an easement for 150 feet east of the road that runs north and south. His lot doesn't start till 175 feet. So there's a 25-foot gap there that's common use land for Tanglemar. And it hasn't, he just needs another 25 feet. So I don't see him having a problem getting that. It's not there yet. So you might need to get cleared up before it moves on. Yep. Sorry,
No,
I
that's
didn't
okay.
mean to just walk away. Do you have any questions for me?
No, so your concerns were completely about the access easements, is that right?
Not really concerns. I don't,
Just
the project's
information.
going fine. I just want to make sure that everybody understands what they're dealing with.
Okay.
There's no easement to the east. That's to the north. And so that wall that you guys are talking about was done on a handshake and was never recorded. We've gone to court on that, and the judge mistakenly ruled on the wall to the north. So there's actually no ruling on that wall, and I don't own, but I'm next to the wall just to the north of this development. So that wall is a continuous wall from the lake down to the midpoint of his project there. And that was to divide, keep the RVs away from our land. But so now that wall is partly on the Tanglemar Association, and it's partly on Bitter End of Suites in the buffer zone, or whatever you want to call it, that 15-foot strip that they quit claim deed from us. But there's no official record of how to keep that wall, or who's in control of it, or who's supposed to maintain it. It was just done on a handshake.
Okay.
It's kind of a enigma.
Way we did it back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you.
All right.
We appreciate your
Yeah,
comments.
but I don't have any, I'm not contending anything. I'm just trying to set the record straight.
We appreciate that very much. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing, okay, Mr. Burgess. Go right ahead.
I didn't want to represent that I had run that easement out yet. Just having gotten it today, I assumed it was the same property we were talking about. For peace of mind, I will run it out and find out where exactly that easement is. If it is away from our property, then it's a non-issue. But I will confirm where exactly in space that easement is, and if it does or does not apply to this project.
Yes, and in all fairness, neither did we. We didn't run it. It just give it a quick look. It seemed to make sense, but we do appreciate the additional information and appreciate you looking into that for us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Did you have concerns with the turf in relation to ISR?
I do believe there's still some stormwater comments to be addressed.
And I don't know, my question was if she had questions, any concerns about the turf in relation to the ISR. We've had general discussions about that before and did not even notice the turf until just now.
Technically, we would ask for a technical specification on that material just to ensure that it is permeable and what characteristics it has.
You're referring to on Lot 5? Yeah. Again, last TRC, I had elaborated that particular lot, we had information, so we show it, but it's going to have to go through the single-family stormwater and BPFR. So we anticipate we can cover it in that. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I can't. So, legal has advised, and I have to agree with her, what we approve on the site plan is what we expect to be built in the field. So it might be that we remove it if they're not gonna install it for now, but you can, if you need to go ahead and design the stormwater to include that extra area for impervious, then I think you could accommodate that in the calculations, if that makes sense.
We're talking about the turf still?
Yes.
Sure. I mean, if we want to design it out now, we can. I mean, we're that far away
Right.
from having it fully considering the turf. I don't recall offhand whether we called it pervious or impervious or partially pervious, but we will clarify that and make sure it matches with what the code has for turf grass.
Yeah, I mean, and like with any development order, if I can give you lots of examples, but the main one that always concerns me is if there's a code case and code goes out and looks at it, and if it's not on the DO, then, or if it is on the DO and it's not there, then it just may create potential problems.
Well, we know that this is exactly what the owner wants to build, so.
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit, because I do recall there was like a greenhouse and
Yeah.
a tennis court, and it's changed quite a bit. Okay, thank you for that.
We can do that. We'll address the turf and send that in. Were you going to issue another comment on that, or you want us just to address it based on this meeting?
It's going to be based on Wyatt's review, so
Okay.
collaborate with him.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. So with no one else asking to speak, Bridget, you have a recommended motion on this one.
Excuse me, sorry. I recommend to approve with conditions, as long as the comments are satisfied.
Okay, so if we could get a motion then for conditional approval after all comments are successfully addressed, and then move it to the planning director for approval of the development order.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now we'll move on to item number 9, which is Bay Breeze Outdoor Kitchen. And Jesus Navarro reviewed this for us. We'll ask him to please present it.
Okay, Bay Breeze Outdoor Kitchen, request to approve by development order, project number MIN 26000019 is being reviewed by myself. This is a minor development order application submitted by Kimley Horn on behalf of Susan Kiley and Wayne Paul, requesting to develop 12,012 square foot commercial building on 1.26 plus or minus acres with a future land use of mixed use and a zoning category of coastal center. The property is located in District 4 on the north side of Forest Shore Drive, east of Darrow Drive, and can be identified by the parcel ID numbers in the staff report. May I enter the staff report into the record?
So entered.
All right, so several things here, special considerations. This is along the scenic corridor, the 98 scenic corridor. There has been a first round of reviews to which comments have been addressed from the planning department. There are outstanding comments due to reviewers not getting to the second round that the applicant has provided. So that is still pending. Any questions for me at this time?
So we've got 4 parcels here, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Trying to see what's on this property now.
It's currently vacant.
Okay. At this point, I don't have any questions, but does anyone else have questions for Jesus at this point? Okay, we'll ask our applicant to please come up and present their project.
Good morning,
Good
Mariah
morning.
Decker with Kimley Horn.
Good morning, thank you for being here. Do you want to give us any information on your project, or do you just want to?
Yeah, this is right next door is Bay Breeze Patio. The owners of this property would like to develop another retail store next door to support their patio furniture shop.
Okay. So it'll be retail?
Yes, it'll be 1,000 square foot of retail. Majority of the building will be storage though, because they like to keep on-site furniture and associated supplies, so that they can, when people order, they can have them on hand that day. The property will have 2 loading docks as well, just to get that furniture into the facility.
Okay. Trying to figure out, I don't see it on the site, Lynn. Ooh, okay. We might need to talk about parking. Are they, is this being treated, the 2 buildings, as, okay, no, I'm sorry. The existing building's not included in this, is it?
Yes, ma'am, not included.
Okay. So we've had discussions in the past about whether or not we can allow warehouse parking if warehousing is not permitted in the zoning district, simply because if this turns over into another use, it won't have adequate parking. We can move forward like it is, but I'll need to have a discussion with our director just to make sure that he's comfortable with the parking as proposed. Um, It would be a technical issue for sure. The question is, just, if it doesn't comply, then we would have to come back.
Exactly.
Right, right. But if it does comply, then the site plan would be appropriate.
So what's the condition that would be moving it forward?
Just to get the director's confirmation on the parking as proposed. Yes.
I mean, my concern at this point, I mean, if we move it out of here, if that's the technical comment, that would result in a redesign if it's not appropriate.
I see. Okay. Well, and it does look like we've got outstanding comments from right-of-way, engineering, traffic. I guess there's some stormwater concerns, environmental concerns,
Yes, ma'am.
fire concerns.
We've addressed the comments as they're listed in the staff report right now. We haven't received updated comments.
Okay. So you've done a resubmittal.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've got a proposal for a 12,000, just over 12,000 square foot building, and we're only proposing 8 parking spaces. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. For the 1,000 square foot retail with 11,000 square foot warehouse.
Okay. Let's see if we have any public comments on this one. Do we have anybody from the public that'd like to speak on this project? No? Okay. When, can either our applicant or our planner tell us when the resubmittal was uploaded? And where we are with the next review?
Yeah, so as for the next review, because this is a part of, within the scenic corridor buffer, it will require to go to DRB next. In terms of reviews, we are still missing scenic corridor review. And as for the date that the application was, the resubmittal was done, I know I reviewed it on 5/11, so it would have been around that date.
Okay.
And just to clarify that, around that date is when the applicant resubmitted the second iteration. However, the reviewers still haven't gotten to it yet at the time that this staff report was published.
Okay. Who do you have still outstanding?
See. I know I have engineering and environmental and scenic corridor.
Okay. I just wanted to look at something real quick in the code, if you give me just a brief moment here.
I do have a question. I'm looking at the site plan. I see the loading zones and all that. I don't see a dumpster pad.
There's a dumpster pad located on, if you're looking at the plan towards the east, just north of where that parking area is located. Do you see it? Okay.
It's such a small font.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a site plan here in this packet.
One other thing too that I wanted to comment on regarding the parking, where is it? Yeah, so the parking requirements for warehouse is 1 per 3,000 square feet, which the applicant has provided for. And then for the retail, it's 1 per 350 square feet.
Right, I understand. The issue is that warehouses don't appear to be allowed in the zoning district. So we have had discussions that if the use is not allowed, then you can't use a parking code for a use that's not allowed. And with this is, I know this is ancillary to the primary, however, I know that we have not allowed a warehouse parking code to be used where warehouses aren't allowed in the past, which is why I am a little bit hesitant to move forward without speaking with the planning director first to get his interpretation. And I'm just looking through the code real quick, and it does not appear. If warehouses was allowed in the zoning district, then it wouldn't be a problem. But even general commercial and neighborhood uses are limited. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with this.
I would like to note that we did have in our pre-app a conversation with Stephen about parking, and at the time was approved by Stephen.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps.
Let's see. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think, you know, and I hate to kick the can forward, but I think we need to continue this until we get that resolved. I'm okay with just continuing it for 2 weeks if that works for our applicant. And that would, because it's a matter of us finishing up the reviews that staff is currently reviewing, and then that would give us a chance to make sure that we have a good answer to the parking question. So I'd like to actually continue this to June 3rd. Do we have a motion to that effect? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll continue to June 1st, and we'll get you an answer on that. Thank you. Okay, item number 11, Lusk subdivision. This was reviewed by Bridget Clements. We'll ask her to please come forward and give us a brief presentation.
This is Lusk subdivision, request to approve by development order, project number MIN 26-000022, being reviewed by myself, Bridget Clements. This is a minor development order application submitted by Dunlap and Shipman on behalf of Gerald Lusk, requesting to develop 2 single-family lots on 0.39 acres with a future land use of residential and zoning of neighborhood infill. The property is located in District 4 on the north side of Spotted Dolphin Road, east of North Bishop Road, and is identified by the parcel ID in the staff report. May I please enter the staff report into the record?
So entered.
Thank you. With this project, as of the publishing date, I was still waiting for environmental, South Walton Fire, and school board. I know for a fact I have not heard back from the school board yet, and the other 2 are probably still pending. With that, I do have a few comments, and we also have outstanding engineering and right-of-way comments. There's just a couple, though. My biggest thing on here was I put on the staff report because when I was reading through Chapter 5 and the landscape buffers, it looks like they need a rear landscape buffer to be in compliance. It's adjacent to institutional. Let me get that exact. Public facilities and institutional. I think there's a school north of it. It's wooded back there, and I would just like a little guidance if it is completely wooded behind, would it still require that landscape buffer, just so I could have a little bit of clarity for revising my staff report.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to look at the table to see
Okay.
what it says. And so it's institutional, what's the actual land use back there?
It's a school. I don't remember which one. But when I read the table, it looked like they needed one. I haven't heard back from when I sent the staff report, any argument on it.
Okay.
It was just it's the biggest comment I have, is the landscape buffer. And I'm sure environmental will also weigh in on it when I receive those comments.
Yes, so, Bridget, these may be questions for our applicant, but these, it looks like they are adjacent to lots that were part of the, I don't remember if it's Spotted Dolphin, what the name of the subdivision was. Was this omitted from that development?
Yeah, so it wasn't part of the development, and I'm going to update the previous actions. It had a lot, it was a larger lot at one point, it had a lot split done, and then this was the larger portion, and now they're coming in to do the 2-lot subdivision to get the third, technically third lot, but, the 2 lots here. But it was not part of that subdivision.
Okay, and the reason we're doing a DO, just for the record, is the fact that it's not a lot of record, so we can't just do another split.
It is a lot of record, but it's creating density after a lot split. So
I
it's
got
going to be the third split instead of.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so, what is the buildable area on these lots? Once you throw in stormwater and driveways, parking,
I don't know if I have that particular number right with me.
I'm sure our applicant can answer if not.
However, it will be subject to the stormwater review at the BPR stage. So, and it is comparable to all the parcels around it. And they did do the compatibility analysis and neighborhood meeting.
Okay.
So, the applicant probably has that number, but just looking at what is built around it on the sizes around it, I'm not sure if they would have an issue with fitting something comparable to the neighborhood in there.
Okay.
More questions for me?
I don't. Does anyone else have questions for Bridget? Okay. Dean?
Morning, Dean Burgess with ECAE LLC. In response to your question, they're roughly 60 by 140, so they're good-sized lots.
That's the whole lot, or is that the buildable area?
That's the entire lot.
140,
Yep.
okay.
And my understanding is on the landscape buffers, I've had conversations with Stephen about this. The higher use is responsible for the buffer. We ran into this on another project, and that was his determination on it. So we would not be subject to a landscape buffer here, being the residential use. Other than that, I think the comments are minor in nature and easily responded to. We are still waiting on environmental. Hopefully we'll get those soon so we can resubmit. But we would ask that for approval subject to favorable reviews or response to the comments.
And your owner does understand that this is gonna have to be platted, they're gonna pay rec fees and recording fees, all the things. It's been a long morning,
I don't
sorry.
see a way around the
No,
plating
I
of
don't
it.
either. And for Andrea, are we able to do on-lot subdivision, or on-lot stormwater with this being a DO?
That's a good question. I can look into that. I know before we've required the master stormwater plan.
Yes. That's why I'm asking the question.
But there's also the pattern of the neighborhood might come into play, so.
Yeah, I know we've done several of these little 2-lot subdivisions, maybe even a 3-lot subdivision.
Right.
And we've done them where the single-family stormwater criteria applies. And the reason behind that is you end up with a 2-lot homeowners association, you have to pay dues and et cetera, et cetera. You have a two-person board, what if there's a disagreement?
Right. Yeah, I just was thinking there was something in the code that prohibited that, but I wasn't certain. Because I've seen us do it both ways, honestly. I've seen us require it for these small subdivisions, which are really just lot splits. We just can't do it.
Can't call
through
them a
that
lot split, right?
process because of the language in the code.
Right.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So do we need to continue it, or are you?
I think the stormwater hasn't been designed yet, correct? And if it was required to have a common area stormwater facility, would that impact your buildable area substantially?
No, there's plenty of room on these lots, to design for stormwater. I just, I didn't see the sense behind, once you establish common area, then you have to set back from that common area. It just seems to work out better on these little two-lot subdivisions, not to mention the maintenance entity that's required.
No, we have entered into maintenance agreements between two lot owners to bridge that. But yeah, let me look into that a little further, and that way we stay consistent across the board.
Yeah, I think that was part of the discussion in the pre-application meeting was, hey, we're gonna present this where it'll be single-family stormwater plans for these two lots. And that was the guidance in the pre-app, but let us know. All right, thank you.
Okay. Do we have anyone from the public that would like to speak on this application? Looks like we're dwindling down here. Okay, seeing none. Bridget, do you have a recommended motion on this one?
I recommend to approve with conditions, as long as all outstanding comments are addressed, and also we address the stormwater question, which, in my experience, however limited, I did do the pre-app for this, so we did discuss it during the pre-app. It has been my experience that on the two-lot subdivisions, we were allowed to do the on-site stormwater, but I have no language to back that up at this moment.
Yeah, I know that we do that with lot splits, but I don't believe that we allow it for DOs.
Okay.
And I know that we have some folks who are still learning, who haven't had a lot of guidance, so that's on us as much as anything, if that is the case. But I'm comfortable if we can get a motion to this effect to move it forward. However, if it does have to have on-site stormwater, then we reserve the right to bring it back, or there might have to be a less than minor to amend it if we do get to that point. I don't know. I don't want to do a less than minor. I think we'd need to bring it back if we do decide that that's the case.
I agree. I think less than minor is more money that the applicant has.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Do you feel like we need to continue, or are you
No,
good to move it
I'm
forward?
good with that. So
Okay.
moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all right, thank you very much. All right, next we have 66 Cross Creek Road. That was reviewed by Jesus Navarro. We'll ask him to please give us a brief presentation.
Yeah, this is 66 Cross Creek Road, requested approved by development order, project number MIN 26 0000014 is being reviewed by myself. This is a minor development order application by Dunlap and Shipment on behalf of Robert D. Dottie Trust, requesting to develop an additional single-family home on .61 plus or minus acres with a future land use of residential and a zoning category of neighborhood infill. The property is located in District 4 at 66 Cross Creek Road and can be identified by the parcel ID in your staff report. Several things here. Well, I guess I have one comment. Due to some of the comments in this staff report, specifically the request, the need for a variance in order to accomplish this, I will be requesting that we table this until that is addressed.
I think that's a very good idea.
May I enter the staff report into the record?
So entered. And can we get a motion to continue this, or I'm sorry, to table this until further notice?
Motion to table.
Second?
Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is tabled until further notice. Next, we move into the cell towers. First one is Site 11, Walton County Sheriff's Office Cell Tower. Bob, would you please present this item?
Yes, Madam Chair, but before I start on the individuals, I'm just gonna do a brief overall summary for time constraints, and then we can move quickly as you need through the projects. So I provided you the spreadsheet. I'm not asking to enter it into the record, but of the remaining cell towers, there are 4 that have reached a pinch point that we're waiting for advance review at a higher command for the joint spectrum analysis. And then we're also waiting, one of the towers is on state property, and I am waiting for any conditions and final approval from the state government. I checked on both, the state this morning and the Air Force the other day. Some of them are, for the Air Force, are about to break loose to us, so I can get a couple more for them. I think we're doing a really good job as the team, both the private team and our reviewers. I'm very appreciative of our reviewers and their quick turnaround on these. And I think once we get a resubmittal, I think we'll be sitting really good on them. So with that said, I'm going to start going down through the projects. And if you have any specific questions, I can answer on that. Okay, so number 13, Site 11, Walton County Sheriff's Office Cell Tower is one of the projects that sat higher command. This is request to approve by development order, project number MIN 26-000036. This is a minor development order application submitted by Baker Donaldson on behalf of Walton County BCC, requesting to develop a wireless telecommunication tower and supporting equipment on 11.377 plus or minus acres with future land use of rural residential and the zoning category of rural village. The property is located in District 1 at 12412 State Highway 20 West and is identified by the parcel number in your staff report. Madam Chair, as you're aware, this is a major infrastructure and safety project of all of them combined. The variances have been applied and approved and conditional use for this one. So if, may I enter the staff report in the record?
So entered.
If you don't have any questions for me, or if the applicant doesn't want to speak,
I don't have any questions on these.
I would like to ask for conditional approval pending successful resolution of the comments in the Air Force and move it to development order.
Okay, let me just, do we have anyone here that wants to speak on Site 11 WCO cell tower? And since our room has dwindled down, sir, are you here for one of the cell towers?
He's here for the children's home one.
Okay, so you know when to cue me in. Thank you very much. No, so do we have a motion as Bob recommended?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that one is conditionally approved.
Number 14 is going to be a little bit more problematic. 14 is on our long-term lease state property. As I said, I followed up this morning. Apparently, it's being reviewed by the highest levels in the state government. We're kind of past our out window of getting it back, but I was told, don't call us, we'll call you. any conditions imposed by the state will have to be included in the development order as restrictions. There may be restrictions on co-location on this one. They may, if they approve it, they may not allow co-locations. I don't know until I get this back, and like I said, and also this one has an advanced Air Force review. So, and plus, this one is scheduled for the end of May for their variance. So, with all that still out in the air, I'd still like to ask for conditional approval pending everything comes through. But if something is denied that's a DO killer, then we'll address that at that point.
What else is on this parcel? Is there a county building, or do we know?
It's part of the 99, they have a name for it. It's part of the 99-year lease. It's TDC has some buildings on there and such, but the new well, I can't say new anymore. The administration now wants final review of anything additional.
I see.
So that's why we didn't have to get those with the different little structures we put on there. But they reserve the right for final denial since it's their property. So with that, can I make a motion to conditionally approve pending they get their variance and state final approval? And then at that point, we can move it to the development order stage for
And the Air
director.
Force?
And the Air Force, yes.
Okay. I'm happy with that. Do we have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Number 15 is Argyle. Argyle is just pending Air Force review and engineering / public works, whatever we want to call them these days. They are committed to getting these back as soon as we get a resubmittal. Also, the Air Force has told me that approximately 2 of them should break loose by today. So I hope to have those. So Argyle would be in that condition. If we get the Air Force approval and get the final review check off, we'd be able to move that forward. And they have all their conditional uses and variances. So if there's no comments from the applicant, I'd like to make the same conditional approve, pending successful resubmittal and addressing of outstanding comments.
Have they resubmitted to address the comments in the staff report?
No, they were all instructed to wait until after today, but I think they're gonna come pretty quick. My goal is have them completely buttoned up by us, and then soon as I get the authorization, we'll get it through. We don't know if it's gonna come through the county exec, through us, whatever, but it's my understanding it's at a much higher level than the normal state people I deal with.
And this one got its variance already, it appears.
Correct,
And a conditional use, okay.
correct.
So,
Not yet.
do we have a motion to conditionally approve?
Well, may I
this one?
enter the staff report into the record
Oh, I'm
first,
so
please?
sorry. Yes, you may. Thank you very much.
Motion to conditionally approve pending all outstanding comments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, the next one is Oakwood Hills Cell Tower. That is another one that's been moved up to a higher command for the joint spectrum analysis. And also we'll be getting a resubmittal on that once everything's successfully submitted and got it all clear. I'd like to move that to a conditional approval. Can I enter the staff report in the record, please?
So entered? So entered?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a conditional approval on Oakwood Hills?
I see you've got this. Did this one not require conditional use?
No, no, ma'am. Oh, well, I take it back. These are one of the three, Oakwood Hills, Pleasant Ridge, and Blue Mountain Beach will be, as I said in the beginning, will be going to ZBA the end of this month.
Okay, but we
But-
already have the variance, we just didn't get the CU.
No, they will be going for their variance at the end of in a week.
I see.
And
I
they
didn't read
they
all the way.
understand that if
Yes.
approved, the final order is gonna take like a month. And then, once everything is paperworked in and I got all the review, I'll move them forward.
Got it, okay.
So that was Oakwood Hills. So can I have a pending successful obtaining of all requirements and a clean bill? Can I ask for conditional approval for Oakwood Hills?
We have a motion to that effect?
Motion for conditional approval pending all outstanding comments.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, number
Whoop, all, any opposed? No? Okay, that one's conditionally approved as well. Thank you. Sorry, Bob.
Number 17 is Pleasant Ridge. It's the same. It's been bumped up to higher command. It's also scheduled for the May ZBA for a variance. Once I get those documents, if they are approved, and I get a successful resubmittal and everything's addressed, would like to move this one to development order. Can I enter this one into the record, please?
So entered.
And may I have that conditional approval, please?
We have a motion.
Outstanding comments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that one passes, conditionally approved.
Our last one for today is number 18, Children's Home, Walton County Sheriff's Office Cell Tower. It's a request to approve by development order, project number MIN 26-000035. Is being reviewed by myself. This is a minor development order application submitted by Baker Donaldson on behalf of the Walton County Children's Home Community Center, requesting to develop a wireless telecommunication tower and supporting equipment on 3.53 plus or minus acres with a future land use of public facilities and institutional in the zoning category of institutional. The property is located in District 2 at 4962 County Highway 2 and is identified by the parcel number in your staff report. Madam Chair, the children's home, it has their variance. It is being reviewed by the Air Force. It's one of the ones that I'm expecting daily. There's some outstanding comments. I'll need a successful resubmittal. Can I enter the staff report into the record, please? Yes?
Yes, so entered. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. And Madam Chair, we have a public comment on this. I think if the applicant allows, or if the citizen,
Good morning. I think it's still morning. If we could get your name for the record, please.
Bruce Johnson,
Okay.
resident of the Children's Home area. And first, I'd like to thank the people putting up these towers. Anything that improves cell phone service is going to be helpful. The tower that went up before, the wireless internet tower, went up on the same property not too long ago. That went very well, and I think the planning for that was well done too. My first concern would be the power that this is going to draw from our power grid right in our area. This morning we had 3 glitches in the power, just short glitches, not outages, but that is a concern. The more we add out there, please, in your planning, make sure that is taken care of. And from what I hear, it is, but I just wanted to express that concern. The other major concern would be the use of the community center itself. I assume this will not affect it being able to use by the local residents as a community center and
Correct.
doesn't change parking or anything by the looks of the plans. So that's all the comments I have. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
And can our applicant address Mr. Johnson's concern about the power? And if you would, just verify for me, so the community center is still under the same ownership. We're not changing that, correct?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. My name is Patton Hahn. I'm with the Baker Donaldson Law Firm. And before I address those, can I make one brief statement?
Absolutely.
This is a huge project for the sheriff's office and for City Switch, and a huge private-public partnership. And I just want to say that Bob and his department and all of the planning staff we dealt with have been fantastic in helping us. We know it's a huge amount of work, and they have done a great job in helping us move this. As you can see from the number of comments in these staff reports, these are not simple projects.
Not.
And it's their attention to detail and working with us that have made this possible.
Thank you very much for that. We don't hear that very often, so
Yeah.
we appreciate it.
I mean, my firm's been working with Bob for over a decade on cell towers in Walton County, and he's gone really above and beyond, and his whole staff has.
Well, thank you for that, Bob.
As to those comments, I can't really specifically say how this cell tower will impact the power consumption in that area, but that's certainly something that I'm not necessarily sure is a sheriff's problem or City Switch problem, that it's something we need to work with the power provider out there to make sure that the grid is reinforced for whatever is out there, and we'll certainly be part of those discussions. As to the question about the children's home, its use as a community center will not be affected at all.
Okay.
That's actually a condition of the grant to the county from the landowner who I spoke with when we were getting ready for the variance thing. The county only owns that land so long as it is used for a community center. And if it's not, it reverts back.
I see. So I'm just curious, which electric company service? And I can tell you that I live north of Defuniak, and we have had more surges lately than I can ever recall. So I don't know why, but it's not just you.
Well, we're up in that northeast, or northwest corner, overlooked by the broader Walton County. So wanted to have a voice. And
Thank you for that.
Well, a big part of the overall project, and this project in particular, is to bring better wireless service to parts of the county that had poor service.
yeah, and we greatly appreciate it.
Yes, well, thank you both very much.
And the sheriff's department for their work up there as well.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We appreciate your patience in waiting to get to this last item.
Madam Chair, I guess I can reach out to Chelco. We haven't always had the best luck, but I had a couple contacts. Maybe I could just, I'm sure they're aware of it, but I don't know what I can do beyond that.
We have some contacts as well.
Okay.
Appreciate that. So I know you weren't on the mic, but the sheriff's office offered to reach out to Chelco to see if there's any possible solutions to help aid with the surge issue that Mr. Johnson's having.
Okay, so we've entered this staff report in the record. Children's.
Have a motion.
Thank you.
Recommended motion.
Children's Home has their variance already. There's just some minor comments that need to be resubmitted. And then this is another one that I'm expecting daily from the Air Force. Maybe when I go back, they're there. So I'd like to make a request for conditional approval pending successful resubmittal and addressing of the comments, and move to the director for the development order.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
And then, Madam Chair, as you know, the director and the county exec has been interested in it, and the sheriff has been interested. So if I could just give a 2-second update on the status, not counting these. We have one project that has been approved and DO'd, Liberty Cell Tower. We have Glendale Cell Tower that I've requested the DO set on 5/19 to get that one approval. We have a new submittal for the June's TRC for a cell tower. That one is going through review. And then we have one last cell tower that hasn't been submitted yet, but I'm expecting soon. And then the 3 co-locations at Paxton Vertical Bridge, Red Bay, and Watersound Tower site have been staff approved, so those are moving. So after we get these ones taken care of, we're pretty much way ahead and getting everything up so the sheriff can have a safe communication network and better coverage across the county. Do you have any questions for me?
No questions.
Thank you, that's all for me.
That concludes this meeting. We'll adjourn. It is 11:50. Thank you all for coming and for your attention.